Wow, good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, everybody. Nice to see you guys on 12 of you on early. Very good. So we still have a few minutes. So I shall be playing some videos and get my PowerPoint started. Okay, so this is what we give them a chance. Some of them got caught. One last time. One, two. So yeah, good evening. That was just some of the memories of 2018 that I played for you of the events that I had. And I see as we're waiting for people to come in, there's a lot of messages, and I see there's people still registering right up to now because I'm getting emails. I'm just going to quickly switch here to get my PowerPoint presentation started. So in the meantime, everybody that's in here, can you hear me? If you can hear me and you saw the video and you could see the screen, just type in yes in the chat box. I just want you to type in yes in the chat box for me. You can just type in yes in the chat box for me. If you can hear me and you can, oh, there we go. Excellent. Oh, lots of yeses. The yeses are flying in. Okay, great stuff. Now I'm just going to quickly start the PowerPoint presentation and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to see it as well. Oh, lots of yeses. The yeses are still coming in. Great stuff. So before we get started, we have a few minutes. I'd also like to know, where are you guys from? So if you'd like to, if you guys in the last one, I remember last year, 2024, we had people from Italy, we had people from New Zealand on that, the very first webinar in the year. So if you guys can also quickly just type in which town or city are you in? Oh, Josie, Mona, excellent. Chatsworth, Kogi. Okay, fantastic. Rustenburg, Gauteng, Durban, Navisa. That's where I'm from also. KZN. No, Nessa, you in? Rustenburg, Rustenburg, fantastic. Where else? Where are you guys from? Just type in the chat box. Where you from? I'm waiting to see if there's anybody from Australia and okay, lots of Rustenburg, Limbada, Jeanette, yeah, Manoko Moloto, Boxburg. That's I think on the East Rand, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I'm from KZN, right? KwaZulu-Natal. I'm actually on the north coast of Durban. I'm about 40 k's out of Durban on the north in a little town called Verulam. But for those of you that don't know, we still have a few more minutes. Verulam was actually it was actually the second town that was formed, in 1845, 450. 450 Methodist and the settler colonial project came to Verulam. The settlers came. Hometown, Kogi, you from Tongat. Well done. Excellent. So yeah, that's how Verulam had started in the year 1850. And it was actually not for the sugarcane. It was actually more for the rail. Okay, I'm just waiting on, yeah, where you guys from? Guys, come on, type in the chat box where you from. Whilst others are just coming in, we have a few minutes before we get started. We're going to get started at exactly 6 p.m. And we're not waiting for anybody because there's about 1,000 people that are registered for this webinar. And let's see how many get in. Tertia Rustenburg, there's a lot of Rustenburg people here. It seems like one of the school groups probably just, KZN, Yagadasi, okay, Y Pillay, excellent, good stuff. A lot of KZN, a lot of Gauteng, a lot of Rustenburg Northwest. Okay, cool. Durban, Rustenburg, Chatsworth, Josie. Guys, come on, type in the chat box. Where are you from? What's your hometown? Whilst I'm opening up the PowerPoint presentation, going into full presentation mode. Oops, I didn't want that. I'm just putting it back a little bit. Okay, still more Rustenburgs. Okay, guys, I'm pretty sure you can see my screen by now. Can you guys see it? It was on. I just wanted to make it smaller so I can work on my desktop and talk to you guys. You guys can see, all of you can see the presentation, I take it? Just type in yes in the chat box if you can. Chadi LC, Rustenburg Northwest as well. Okay, good stuff. So guys, can you see the screen? Just type in one more time, yes for me. And there we go. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Tertia. Thank you, Chadi. Thank you, Lesedi, for confirming. So welcome, parents. Welcome to all of you to the Personality Type and Learning Styles webinar with me, Coach Junaid. This is generally my masterclass. All my webinars that I run are generally run as a masterclass. The online academy is basically, all our online e-learning courses that you can run on your own, in the comfort of your home, at your own pace. And then I run boot camps. The boot camps are basically my live events where I run this live in your town, in your school, in your area. Now, I must give all of you a big, big warning. This workshop, a lot of people come to it and it's a mind-blowing, life-changing event because now you start learning a lot about parenting and, the behaviors. Now, that's what's very close to my heart. I'm very passionate about human behavior, especially in our younger generations, because we find that there's huge, breakdown in communication. That there's gap between adults, parents, teachers, and the youngsters. They just, find themselves not being understood. Okay, so I think we should be about 30 seconds more to kick off. Okay, so guys, today we're talking about personality types. In the last 1 minute, how many of you just type in what grades are your children in? What grades are your children in? You can just type it out in the chat box. What grades are your children in? What grade are your kids in? Okay, great. We've got some grade 4s, grade 11s, grade 6s, okay? Grade 7, 4 and 7. Okay. Now, this is the reason why I actually specified grade 4 to 9, and I'll tell you guys just now. They're two different phases, right? You got the senior primary phase, and then you got the junior high, which is the grade 8 and 9. So that's the phase I was looking for. But the others will also benefit huge. But this was actually more geared to grade 4 right up to grade 9. Those two phases, we see major drops. There are three grades here that you see major drops in results. The first one is in grade 4, where we see a big drop in performance in the first term. and the second term. And that's because you're transitioning from junior primary to senior primary. The second drop we see from grade 7 to grade 8, okay? And that's because you're transitioning from primary school to high school. And then you get the third drop, which is actually that transition from grade 9 to grade 10. When they go into the FET phase, you see a huge drop in performance and results. So I was focused more on this grade 4 to grade 9. Okay, but others will get benefit. Here's a quick summary of what I'm going to cover in tonight's webinar, right? I'll tell you a little bit about me, and yes, big surprise. I'm not a teacher, never been a teacher my whole life, very strange. And then I'm going to talk about where we find ourselves as a community, as a country as well, in terms of education and our children, what's going on. Then we're going to go into the actual webinar. We're going to talk a lot about parenting, understanding these kids, understanding their personalities, their characteristics, how they behave, why they behave in these ways. We'll talk about their love languages, and a whole lot more. And at the end, I'll finish off with the top skills that are required for children to succeed. And you're going to see, I'm going to take you through the progression over the last 10 years and how rapidly the top skills have changed from 2015 all the way to 2025 this year. And it's not what we think it is. Okay, so very quickly, who is Coach Junaid and why is he talking to us about our children, their behaviors, their learning, their personality types? Now, like I said, I'm a father of 4, and I have kids ranging from 28 years old right down to 5-6 years old, right? And my background, very strangely, is in technology, guys. I used to design email systems and networks for this big company called Transnet, which I'm pretty sure you guys all heard of. I started working for them in 1994, and I resigned in 2009. But I tell you this because I was one of 6 specialists in the country at that time. They actually headhunted me for my tech skills. I was very good in technology. Now, that picture that you see on the screen, that's me when I did grade 7. If you're wondering which one, it's the guy right on the left-hand side, right? That's me when I was in grade 7, when I was 12 years old. I was very blessed. I traveled to Toronto and I did a whole year of schooling there in grade 7, where I was identified as gifted and talented. And I had outstanding students awards in English, maths, and a few other things, science as well. So they identified me as gifted and talented, and they found that some of my strengths were in technology, and they pushed me in that direction. And I didn't even know. Came back to South Africa the next year, went to school, finished high school, and what have you. And I actually ended up in that field, which they had identified me as, gifted and talented, which was technology. So I started designing email systems and networks for Transnet from 1994 to 2009. I did that for 15 years. But I started working with young children from 1995, 96. I had just finished high school. I was, flying high, especially in sports. I did extremely well. I was the captain of the under 16 and the, under 21 Natal High School's football, and came out. They asked me, after school, after I finished matric, they told me, you need to start coaching a junior side. And they gave me a whole lot of youngsters, 25 of them. And I had to coach these kids. And I really enjoyed it. When my team, when the kids used to score, they were under 10 and under 12. They used to score a goal. I used to go crazy. I used to run around the street, on the line and in the ground. I used to get very excited. So I took a passion, with working for children and young minds from a very, very young age, before I even got married. And then in 2004, I had actually launched my very first study skills business, 2004. And it was called Learning Excellence at that time. But by 2009, 2008, I handed in my resignation to say, right, I'm done, working in IT, even though I was right at the forefront of technology. I said, I want to do, this passion of mine. I'm very passionate about young people and working with young people. And I started doing my life coaching for kids, team coaching, and study skills from 2009 till today. I've been doing it full time. Now, in that time, I've learned a lot, right? I've been a lot of courses and training. I've spent millions in courses. And if you guys remember, those of you that are, anywhere around my age, in the 90s, when I used to, buy these courses, they used to come on cassette tapes those days. And we used to play them in the car, and I used to play it all over in a Walkman. So I spent a lot of money working to improve my mindset and how the brain works. And I got very passionate when I encountered neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, which was cutting edge at that time in the mid 90s. Now, my contribution to education, I launched accelerated learning in 2011. I've been featured on a whole lot of media locally, internationally. Like last week and this past week, I've been on radio, I think 2 or 3 times. Now, I tell you all of this, parents, not to impress you, but I'm trying to impress upon one thing. These are I must tell you, these are impressive stats and the impressive things about my accomplishments and achievements of the years. But I'm trying to stress something else. These are the results I have achieved with young children, young people over the last 15 to 20 years and more. Okay. So at the end of the year, you only worried about your child's results. The teachers that are in the room, you guys also, you just worried about results, principle. Everybody's only interested in one thing, results. So this is the kind of results I have achieved over the last 10 to 15 years. In 2013, I was called by University of KwaZulu-Natal. They told me, you know what, they have a huge problem in poor performance and failure. They asked me if I could come in and put in some turnaround strategies. We were very blessed. We use accelerated learning and it flew. We just turned it around. Until today, I'm a guest lecturer at UKZN. Whenever they need me there, they call me to lecture, not just students, but lecturers and advisors as well. And a highlight for me was the first time I appeared on national television, SABC1, was because of the amazing results I achieved with matriculants 2 years in a row with the districts that had been applying accelerated learning. This was in October 2013. And I've been very blessed to have coached students from all over the world, guys. Over the last 15 to 20 years, I've coached students from Europe, from Russia, from India, from America, Toronto, Canada, Australia, all over the world. We've coached students with our accelerated learning system because it's been proven and trusted. We created frameworks that can plug in anywhere. So we've been very blessed, and this is also trusted by over 10,000 teachers and 12,000 parents. We've been to more than 3,000 schools in the last we'd say actually it's close to 4,000 schools specifically in the last 20 years, I'd say, right? And then you get a lot of organizational institutes like NPOs, NGOs, organizations, and academies, and all of these things. We've been there. And then also in 2011, big corporates like SA Home Loans, Liberty Life, Sogo Sun had actually seen what I was doing, and they called me to come and do training. This was one of the training sessions I did at SA Home Loans. It used to bring about rapid results where you teach something today and now implement immediately, where they get to implement it in a simple, fast way, and they get results immediately. So big companies like SA Home Loans, Liberty Life, Sogo Sun, if you saw in the video, Gift of the Givers, and a whole lot more, they were using it again just to get the results they're looking for. And the last thing about me, ladies and gentlemen, parents, and any kids that are in, is I'm also a private one-on-one coach and mentor I've been very blessed to have coached 14 Olympians, only 2 from South Africa, the rest from other countries. I've coached ministers in parliament. I've coached leaders. I've coached thought leaders. I've coached, judges, magistrates. So I've been coaching people, from kids from the age of like 5, 6 years old, right to 50, 60-year-olds, and high performance. So that's what I actually specialize in, human behavior, not what they do, but to teach them how to break those glass ceilings, to see things differently. And I coach them to take their mental performance specifically to the next level, especially by inculcating better habits and skills. All right. So that's a little bit about me. Enough about me. Let's talk about what's going on in our lives, in our community level and at the country level, right? What's going on? Let's talk about education. Right now, the education system in South Africa, the CAPS system, is ranked 3rd last in the world, guys. 3rd last in the world. We are 146 out of 148 countries. Now, in maths and science, we are last in the world for the last 15 years. From 2010, we've been last in the world, maths and science, okay? So that tells us our system is in a major crisis. It's changed like 4 times in the last 30 years. Now, systems are not designed, not supposed to be changed that often. But then if you look at it, literacy, according to the Pearls report of February 2021, again, literacy rate in South Africa, we are last in the world. So there's a major crisis in our education system. And a lot of it got to do with the legacy system that, we actually inherited, right? And also we need to actually revolutionize that entire system. But if you couple this crisis, what has happened? Technology has taken over, and the attention spans of our youngsters have actually dropped right down. The average attention span with young children now is approximately around about 15 to 18 minutes, right? And that's untrained, So the stats and the science is telling us these kids are unable to concentrate and pay attention for long periods. And then technology has taken over. And a lot of these kids, no fault of theirs, they're born into technology. From the time they're born, they're surrounded by technology. And the problem here is, I'm all for the technology. However, what's happening is most parents, most schools, most teachers are pulling the children away from what they love, which is their gadgets and their technology, for them to do what they hate, and they call it, boring school stuff. So I'm saying if we collaborate education and technology, we'll see amazing things, because guys, I've personally done this from 1999, where we use technology and apps and software to actually let children learn in a more interactive, engaging way with gamification. And suddenly you see those that are actually struggling now suddenly boost up and going right up. And suddenly, some of them even top of the class. So technology has taken over. There's an app for anything you can think of, and attention spans have dropped. Couple that with our kids do not know how to learn. I mean, think about it. They go to school every day, every week, every month, every year, and school teaches them what to learn. It's not their job to teach how to learn. But whatever works for a child, they actually try learn. Most students, they'll tell you they read their work once or twice and maybe take some notes. And that's it. That they think is learning. So our kids don't know how to learn how to learn. I know it sounds weird, but that's a meta. They don't know how to learn how to learn. And here is the problem, right? I believe that part of the root cause of why our children don't know how to learn, or how to do things for themselves is because, guys, we as parents, we grew up in tough times. So what happens is we want to do everything for our children. Teachers will tell you this. They mark the parents' work, the parents' assignments, the parents doing the projects. Mummies, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So when we do everything for the kids aren't able to do anything for themselves. Then we have another bigger problem right now. In our schools, we have very poor values and principles. And now, mind you, this is not a school problem. The job of teaching your child, values and principles is not the schools. We got to do this at home. That's home education, where we teach our children how to conduct yourself, how to carry yourself out, mannerisms, and one of the big things here, guys, is we need to teach this generation respect of elders. Because right now, throughout the country, we have teachers that are being bullied, assaulted, sworn, spat, and everything you can think of. And I am somebody who believes very strongly that people who impart knowledge to you, we treat them with utmost respect. Even books that, impart knowledge to us, we got to have that kind of respect. Now, this generation doesn't have that, and we need to instill this in them again. So we need to keep reiterating this value of respect, especially start at home, guys. One of the things I want all parents to do at home is teach the children that whenever they see any, elders in the family or anybody elder than them, they must always go and greet them, especially if you go visiting. Go and greet the elders, but don't ask for where's the Wi-Fi and where's the Wi-Fi or what's the password. No, go and greet your elders first. So we need to have, a lot of respect. And now, guys, morality is on a rapid decline in South Africa. And this is all across the board. So children are basically doing what they've seen. And then we have another big problem. Basic human needs of these kids are not being met. So what am I talking about? And this one might shock you. So parents, let me take you down memory lane. Let's take a trip down memory lane when you were a young, maybe teenager, right? Maybe 12, 13, 14, even 15, 16, right? Let's just say you're a teen. Go back in time and think about it. When you were a youngster, how many times did your father come to you, hold you, hugged you, and told you, son, daughter, I love you, for no reason? And don't count Christmas and funerals and Eids, and don't count all of that. But how many times did your parents come to you and tell you, son, daughter, I love you, for no reason? Type in the chat box if they did that. If they did it for you, right, you'll type in yes. And if you didn't get those hugs, type in a big no. Never, exactly. You know why? There's lots of no's, never. Big no's, every capital no's, excellent. The reason, guys, is because we grew up in a cycle called tough love. There are a few yeses now and then, right? But the reason is we grew up in the cycle called tough love. If we went to our parents told us, you know what? I gave you a roof over your head. I gave you clothes to wear. I put food on the table for you. I sent you to school. For them, that was love, that was tough love. This generation, and here's the frightening part. This generation, a child growing up in South Africa requires 7 hugs and I love yous a day to grow up confident and normal. You and I, we didn't get it. We turned out okay. But our kids, when they don't get it, they don't turn out okay. They have issues as they grow older, especially in their teen years. So we know that this need, this cycle actually needs to be broken, the cycle of tough love. And then we had the pandemic that came in. Just remember, this was about 4 years ago. So now you're going to start seeing it, especially with the grades, the grade 4s, 5s, and 6s now, because they went through the COVID period, right? They went through it where they had the no schooling and then the next days and swap days and all of that. So according to global statistics, a child currently is behind in milestones by 18 months, which is quite a lot, right? 18 months is a lot. Okay, so these are all the crises we finish, and it's not all doom and gloom. We can fix this. There are ways in which, like, we go out every single day, we're in a different school, so we can turn this around. And how do we do that? Is we've come up with a very unique framework. Okay, now this framework has 6 key areas of success, and this is across the board, whether the child is in ECD, early childhood, grade 1, 2, 3, or they're in grade 6, 7, 8, or metric or university. Any person who's in academics, these are the 6 areas we need to look for, whether they're struggling right down or whether they're right on top, high flyers, or in between. What are the 6 areas? The first area of academic success is mindset. Everything dealing with the mind. We call it study psychology. And this means you got to have a strong foundation. What do I believe about learning? What do I believe about maths? How does my brain like to process information? Also, how does my brain like to learn and take in information? That's what this session is all about, right? Learning styles. The second pillar is what we call productivity, right? I put it actually from the word produce. So there are 5 things that helps a student, produce the grades and results they're looking for. And this I call productivity. Number 1 is the amount of time they spent with the subjects or the topics they're struggling in. Number 2, memory techniques for the different topics and the different subjects. Number 3, the capturing of information, taking notes, writing things down, taking pictures, recording, right? Whichever way you capture information. Number 4 is about reading. Now, parents, we have a major literacy problem in the country, right? We're last in the world. We need to start reading. When you go to school, think about this. And those of you that have kids in private schools, your kids went to school from grade R right around about grade 4. We learn how to read. So you learn how to read from grade R right to grade 4. From grade 5 onwards, right to matric and university, now you read to learn. So first you learn to read, and then from grade 5 onwards, now you read to learn. You see? So what we saying is we need to consume this information at a faster pace. We're living in the age of information. At a touch of a button, we can get tons of information. So we need to be reading more and comprehending and understanding more. So we need good reading skills. Everybody needs to start reading. And the last thing that helps a student produce the kind of grades and results they're looking for are thinking skills, problem solving. That's what tests and exams are all about. It's all about the thinking skills and the level of problem solving skills a child has. Okay, so that was the second pillar. The third pillar of academic success at whatever level you are is called study performance. Everything that will impact your performance, from diet, nutrition, motivation, attitude, even sleep, all of these things, your what you're drinking, what you're eating, all of these things will impact your performance, even the emotions. So if your child is emotional, had a big fight with their best friend, and they now, crying in their room, and they need to go and study for a maths test, they're not going to be performing at their best. So in performance, you'll find that 2 of the biggest things that are impacting kids' performance in this day and age, the 2 big, there's a lot of things I can talk about, but the 2 I'm going to highlight is, number 1, sleep. This generation, this entire generation is in sleep debt. They are owing on their sleep. And that's because they have their gadgets and they up till late at night till 12, 1 o'clock, and then they got to wake up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, get to school and function, but they're not functioning at their best because you only went to bed at 1, and it's worse if they had to write a test or exam, right? So that's a major thing right now, that this generation is lacking in sleep. So they need to have adequate sleep, because guys, when you lack sleep, the 2 biggest things that go, 42% is your short-term memory, which is required in learning or in the classroom. Your short-term memory gets shot by 42%. So if your child has like, no, I know this, man, it's in the top of my tongue, I know what it is. And if they have this quite often that, it takes them long to get something, it probably means they own webinar. No, no, I just got kicked out of I just got kicked out of my own webinar. Okay. So I'm not sure what happened there, but I think the network kicked me out and it reconnected. So, anyways, I'm back. Let's go back to our stream. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. Probably the weather, because yes, it is. I think a storm is beginning to start. But let's get back to it because I've got lots to cover. So, like I was saying, this generation, they in sleep debt. They need to sleep more. The second thing that gets impacted by the lack of sleep is the cognitive executive function of the brain. So what that is basically your thinking skills, your problem solving, your reflexes, all of that. That's what gets shot. So what we need to do is these children have to have adequate sleep. Okay, so that's the third pillar for everything that impacts your child's performance. The fourth pillar is everything about step by step. For example, how to learn, how to write a speech in 5 minutes, how to write an essay, how to prepare an effective revision plan, how to tackle an exam, how to answer exam. Anything that has steps falls under process. Now, the fifth pillar is about progress, perseverance, persistence. This generation gives up very, very easily, parents, right? And we can look at the stats. Every year, annually, we have approximately 1.3 million students register for grade R. However, less than half of them end up writing the metric final exam, right? So what is this telling us? Half of them are falling out. They're giving up very easily. So what we need to do is we need to actually teach them resilience, grit, and determination, that they, when they encounter obstacles, things that are difficult, they need to persevere, they need to persist, they need to push through, and they need to keep moving forward, right? So that's all about progress and perseverance and persistence. Now, parents, if you have pen and paper, write this down. Your child in any class, right? Your child will always be at one of 4 levels in their subjects. There'll always be one of 4 levels. The first level is what I call struggle, right? Level 1 is struggle. That means the child is in survival mode. They're getting from 0 to 40%. They're on the nice. They might fail. Okay. The second level, level 2, is stability, stable. They are not struggling. They kind of like just passing, and a lot of students will tell you, I just want to pass. And they settle for that average mediocrity, right? So a lot of them are happy being there. But that level 2, stable, is if the child is getting from 41% to around about 59, 60%. Okay. Level 3 is what I call success, when the child is getting from 60% to around about 79, 80%. Okay. They are successful. They are above average. But then you also get the high flyers in every class. You have the distinction students. And these kids are level 4, which is what I call significance. And they are consistently, the key word here is they're consistently getting 80%, 81% plus. Okay. Now, that's kind of like common sense. Now, that's the 4 levels that you'll always find in every class. Every child will be at one of the 4 levels. In every subject, they'll be at one of these levels. Now, let's talk about this 4 levels. If your child is struggling right down, they got getting 0 to 40% in a subject, right? For them to come out of it and go to stable, you have to change study habits, because science tells us if you keep doing what you're currently doing, you're going to get the same results. So for things to change, we need to change our approach. Okay. So level 1, to come out of it, if the child is getting 0 to 40%, they have to change study habits. Level 2, if the child is now at level 2, they're stable, they're getting pretty average marks, right? For them to come out of that and go to one higher, you have to increase productivity. Increase productivity. The 5 things I was speaking about: time, memory, capturing information, reading, and problem solving. You have to increase those 5 things to go from stable to success. And if your child is in the class where they're above average and they're getting that from 60 to 79%, right, they're at success level. For them to go one higher and break those, barriers, those glass ceilings, and go to the A's, they have to improve performance. What kind of performance? Mental performance, brain performance. You see, the child, every single child in the world, in the classroom, uses what I call the five major areas of the learning brain. The five major areas of the learning brain is what I call VAMPs. V, A, M, P, and S. VAMPs stands for visual. V is visual. A is for attention. M is for memory. P is for problem solving, and S is for speed. Tests and exams, there's a time limit, right? So these are the five major areas of the learning brain a child uses every day in the classroom as well as in tests and exams. So what happens is you need to, just like how we go to the gym, just like how we go to the gym to exercise our muscles, we got to train the brain as well. So those are the five areas of the brain that you need to train, right, to improve the performance. Now, where can you do this? You can go into your Play Store, Apple Store, Google Store, and do a search for brain training apps. Okay. So in a brain training app, guys, can you hear me? Just type in yes in the chat box if you can hear me. Somebody asked, will the webinar be recorded? Oh, okay, great. Somebody asked if the recorder is the webinar going to be recorded? Yes, it is going to be recorded. I also have bad weather here, so I think there's a storm coming, but we shall push on. Okay, great. Thanks. Everybody can hear me. Okay, good. Okay. So coming back to what I was saying was that level 3, right? They need to improve brain performance. Now, you got to improve those five major areas: visual, attention, memory, problem solving, and S is for speed. Okay. So when they at that level of success, they're above average. Now they need to improve brain performance. And parents, if your child is a high flyer, is a distinction student who's consistently, the keyword again, I'm repeating, consistently gets 81% plus, do not torture your child. Okay. What parents do is they make this big mistake. When they don't, most parents don't know how to handle gifted and talented children. So what they do is they know this child is very sharp in school, give them more worksheets, download, send them for more classes. Nothing is broken. Why do you want to fix something that's not broken? Okay. The kids themselves always tell me, why our parents want to do this to us? They're torturing us. We know all this. Why do they want to give us more? So there's a way in which we manage gifted and talented kids, and it's not by giving them more of what they know, right? It's about improving their values, their principles, improving how they see their core, how they see their education and how the education is going to impact them. It's not about actual skills, because they get that naturally, and you'll always get a small percentage of students who will always be in that distinction group. So those are the 4 levels that you'll find in every class. Every child will always be at one of 4 levels in every subject. And to move out to the next level, you got to look at level 1, change study habits. Level 2, to go one higher, increase productivity. Level 3, if they're at success, they need to improve performance, brain performance in the VAMPs. And level 4, just improve their values, their core values and principles, what they stand for, who they are. Okay, so that's the 5th pillar. And the last pillar, guys, is all about purpose. Why is your child going to school? What are you sending your child to school for? Now, when it comes to high performance, guys, I'll give you an example. All of you, tell me, why are you sending your child to school? Type out in the chat box, why are you sending your child to school? And I'm going to show you how there's a huge mindset shift here, right? So type out, why are you why are you getting your child educated? Why are they going to school? Okay. Somebody said, yeah, Nasmeen, schools for a successful future, to be successful. Yeah, to become successful, to survive in society. Yeah, okay. Yeah, to get good grades. Okay, to be successful. Okay, great. Now, guys, when you ask, for example, when you go to to study in fields that she loves, to be relevant, to live a better life than us, to be excellent. Now, guys, when you go to private schools, because I've done this at some of the top private schools, right, to create a strong foundation, educate them, better person out of school, become global citizens. Excellent. Those are brilliant answers. But guys, I want to tell you, when I run this exact same workshop live in person in those, those schools that are private and extremely high fees, especially in our Midland areas, guys, even here in Mslanga Rocks and places like that, Belito, when you ask those parents, why are you sending your child to Crawford, or why are they going to Clifton? They tell you, we are grooming them to be CEOs. We are preparing them for Oxford and, all the top Stanford University. They're preparing them from now. So when we say to be successful, we got to become crystal clear on what that success means. Okay, so this is the framework for academic success. Okay, now let's go and talk about how your child's identity, even our identity, how identity is shaped from the time when we were little kids, right? From the time we were born, our first role models were our parents. Hey, a child, right till they come to about 6 or 7 years old, I want to be like my mom, I want to be like my dad. They copy their parents. But I call this the parent trap because I'm going to talk about 6 big traps that we fall in. And this is common everyday thing. Okay. So this first one that shapes who they become, their character, is the parent. And that's called a parent trap. Then when they're around about 7, 8 years old, that grade 2, 3, 4, right? They 7, 8, 9, and they're going there. Now they want to be like their peers. They want to, buy what their peers are buying. They want to use what their peers are using. They'll speak like them. They'll dress like them. They'll eat like them. They'll watch what they're watching. And like right now with the teens, the big thing is these Korean series and all about the Koreans. So they're eating Korean food, watching Korean series, behaving like Koreans, talking like them. So what happens is, I call this the peer pit. We have so many followers, and followers is what everybody looking for, that we have very few leaders. And peer also, we have a few problems. Now, I'll talk about these 2, but I'm not going to talk a lot about, I'm not going to talk about the bottom 2 at all, right? The bottom one, the third thing that actually shapes who, Kogi says, I had no role model, not even my father told that we must stop trying. Yeah. Okay, great. I became an educator 7 years ago at the age of 45. Well done. Well done. Excellent. Okay, so the third part that shapes people and who they are people in positions of authority. And these can be your teachers, your trainers, lecturers, elders in the family. Elders in the family, like, grandparents, uncles, aunts, anybody that's even, our religious leaders are seen as people in positions of authority. Now, why does this shape who our children or who we become? That's because what people in authority tells us becomes the gospel truth to us. Subconsciously, we think, like, I'll give you an example. Toddlers, when you got a little toddler and you go to, like, for example, a family function, all the elderly people will go, oh, that's not me. Nirmala, we've got, no, there's not, okay. Yeah, like I was saying, when you take your toddler or little babies and you go, to a family function, or there's a lot of family there, what happens? The elderly, the grandparents will pick that child up. They'll play, you naughty boy, you naughty boy. Yeah, guess what? That child is 3 years old. They're hearing, you naughty boy, you naughty boy. Somebody elderly, somebody big is telling me this. So the child thinks to themselves, big person telling me this, must be right. So guess what the child needs to do now? Make it a reality. What they're hearing from everybody, oh, you naughty boy, you naughty. So now the child becomes naughty. So what people in positions of authority is, being uploaded to our children. We got to be very careful, and we got to start breaking some cycles there as well. And the last thing, guys, is the media. Media is shaping this generation far faster and more than ever before. Now, when I talk media, I'm talking about everything, your print media, whether it's your newspapers, magazines, what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're scrolling on. All of this is shaping this generation like you cannot believe. And people are consuming a lot of videos, right? They're consuming a lot. Now, let's be honest, all of us here, parents, how many of you allowed your children or still allow your children to watch Disney movies? If you allow your children to watch Disney movies, just type in yes in the chat box. Just type in yes in the chat box. Are you, or did you allow your children to watch Disney movies? Yes, 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 yes. Lots of yeses. The yeses are flying. Now, guys, when this webinar finishes, go and Google search Disney movies and subliminal messaging. You're going to get a shock of your life. Disney movies are actually conditioning your children to behave in certain ways. And they don't even know it's happening to them. You don't even know it's happening. But it's there. These movies are highly sexualizing children with subliminal messaging. And generally, most Disney movies have a common theme line. I teach linguistics, right? And in linguistics, we know what the story is like. It starts off, I met a girl, in school, and I really liked her. And my parents didn't approve, right? That's kind of like the second part of the story. And then, okay, so my parents and family didn't approve, so I ran away with the girl. I ran away and, we got married. And after some time, my parents accepted. And then now they actually indirectly telling you through the story or through the movie that do these things and everything will turn out okay. Your parents will forgive you. So they're telling you go against your parents, rebel against your parents. And guys, this is mass mind control. This is what the media is doing. So there's always some kind of narrative, and we got to be careful of what kind of information our children are consuming. So we need to put everybody on an information diet, restrict the kind of information that's coming in, because we all know there's access to the web everywhere for everybody, right? And 80% of the internet is porn. So we must tell our service providers, put a block to all pornography at the router level. You can tell your service provider to do that. So it doesn't even come, what they do is on a routing table, they put a rule. We call it a rule. And the rule actually says, right, nobody's allowed to go to anything with this or with these words, and they block it. So you're blocking it at the router level and nobody can do it. Your kids most highly unlikely will know about the router level. So let's go into the first two about identity, right? The parent trap. The first part of how our identity character is shaped. Okay. Now, why did I call it the parent trap? Number one, our children are living in a cycle of negativity. In South Africa, a child hears 37 negatives before they hear one positive. Always hearing things like this. No, don't go there. Don't do this. Don't come late. Don't trouble. Don't make noise. Don't forget to do your homework. Sounds familiar, parents? If I tell all of you, don't think of a pink elephant. Don't think of a pink elephant, guys. What are you thinking of? Yes. A pink, exactly. So the human mind in neuroscience cannot process negatives. It processes everything in the positive. We need to move away from speaking what we don't want, and we need to tell our children what we actually do want, right? So we need to break out of the cycle of negativity, because if you do the math, every 37, one positive, that means in every 111 things a child hears, only 3 is positive. 108 is negative. That tells us that's why they are so negatively conditioned. They'll always tell you things like, I don't know. They're always using negative words, right? Because we've actually conditioned them with our language, negative language. The second thing we spoke about, the cycle of tough love, all right? The third very big thing that we need to break out of this trap, right, is not speaking about feelings. When your child jumps in the car or gets home from school, instead of asking them, how was school today? Ask them, what did you feel? Or what do you feel? What are you feeling? What did you feel today at school? Ask them about their emotions. Now, this does several things. One, it actually gets them to verbalize emotions, something that we were not, supposed to do before. We were not allowed to talk about emotions, right? Especially me, I know I grew up tough love, right? So now we can encourage them to talk about feelings and emotions. Emotional intelligence is a big, big thing right now. Corporate companies are looking for people that are emotionally intelligent. Now, you're going to hear this EQ a lot. So EQ stands for 4 things: self-awareness, self-management or self-regulation, social awareness, and social management. So we need to know and identify the different kind of feelings that we have, right? Yeah. So somebody says, I think we'll send you the links to the recording, guys. Don't worry. But I think, we'll send you that. And then, right, we need to start talking about our emotions. Number 4 in the parent trap is we do what our parents did to us. Our parents told us what to do. We shut our mouths and we did it, because otherwise we got a tight smack, okay? Right? We kept quiet, we shut our mouths and we did what we needed to do. And this generation, when you tell them what to do, they'll ask you, Mommy, but why? Why can't I do it like that? Why not this way? I saw it on TikTok. Why can't I do like that? So they'll ask you 1,000 questions when you tell them what to do. So instead of telling our children what to do, let's teach them how to make good choices and good decisions. How to teach them how to make good choices and good decisions. Because whatever choice they make, there's going to be consequences, right? Sometimes they're going to make, because of their choices, they're going to make big boo-boos. And we just got to let them face those experiences, right? So let them make choices. And let them experience the consequences. If you study for the test, you're going to do well. You didn't study, that was your choice. You're going to probably do bad or not do as well as you could have, So we need to teach them about how to make good choices and make good decisions. In fact, there are three factors of success in young people. The first factor of success are basically their moral compass, their values and principles, right? What are their values and principles? How much do they value themselves, their education, their community, and all of that? Number two is about decision making and choices, the kind of choices and decisions that every single second you have to make a choice. You got to make a choice of what to think about, what to focus, or what to say. Every single second, you have a choice to choose whether you want to think negatively or think positively. You have a choice to choose whether I want to speak positively or speak negatively, or even in actions. I have a choice whether I want to be proactive and productive, or I can procrastinate and put things off. So that is very important, decision making. And the third thing, if you want to know, the third success factor for young people is basically discipline, structure. Every day, set times, they must do set things. Okay. So we need to teach them how to make good choices and decisions. The fifth thing about parents is the mindset. We need to have what I call the growth mindset. Now, fixed mindset means, okay, this is how I've been all my life. I've been bad in maths, and this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life. The growth mindset says, no, with a little bit of focused effort, I can improve my skill. I can get better. I can get better results. I can get better habits, better skills. So that's what the growth mindset is all about. We need, and moms, it doesn't help at all when you tell your child, no, don't worry, even mom was bad in maths. It's not genetic. We need to put some effort and build the skills that are required for problem solving and mathematics. Number 6, the big trap that parents fall into right now. And this is the number one killer of self-esteem in young people throughout the country. And this is when you compare your child to another child. When you tell your child, you know, that girl's got 6 A's in the class, and we want 6 A's from you, you know, or you tell the child, you know, your cousin is also in grade 8, got 6 A's last year, we want 6 A's from you. You are comparing this child to somebody else. Number one killer of self-esteem, when they are compared. And a lot of parents say, no, I don't do that. Have you ever told your child, when I was your age, you've just compared yourself, your child to yourself. Okay. So when we compare, you compare your child to themselves. Where were you last week? Where are you now? Have you progressed or regressed? Where were you last month? Where were you last term? Where were you last year? And where are you now? Are you progressing or are you regressing? You compare them to themselves, right? Not comparing them to us or you as a parent or others like in their class, classmates, siblings, right? Family. We don't compare them. These are big traps. We got to break out of these traps. Okay. Now, when it comes to the peer pit, I'm saying, and I've seen this a lot, right? I see this a lot. These kids, we have too many followers that we don't have leaders. Okay. So what we need is children need to become more leaders. We need to start grooming more leaders. The problem with leadership right now is throughout the world, people are afraid of the kind and the quality of leaders that we have. We have very few high quality leaders. But what we need to do is we need to groom people. There we go. I was compared to my cousins and I do not like losing now. I am happy where I am. Indeed. And guess what? If you were compared, you will probably do that as well to your children. So I'm glad you realized that now, that you know what? I didn't like. So never ever compare them. You compare them to themselves. Okay. So coming back to this peer pit, when it comes to the peer pit, guys, let's teach our children to be happy and you know, love themselves. Let them love themselves. You don't need any filters to change how you look, man. Just be happy. Just be happy. Be yourself. You don't need filters. And again, let them have good values and principles. We spoke about choices and decisions. Okay, now let's go into all about how we actually make sense of reality and the world around us. We actually make sense of reality throughout our lives via our 5 senses. Right now, all of you, you're probably sitting down, you're watching the screen, you're listening to me talk, right? So you are taking in information on a subconscious level, right? You're taking in information via your 5 senses, what I can see, what I can hear, what I can feel, what I can smell. So we make sense of the world around us through our 5 senses. And what happens to the information, when we take in information via our 5 senses, we tend to give it a meaning. For example, I'll give you an example of what this means, how we give things meaning. If you saw a boy and a girl standing together, maybe at the side of the house or at the corner at the shop, What's the first thing that goes through your mind when you see a boy and a girl together? Let's just say teenagers. What's the first thing that goes through your mind, parents? Type it out in the chat box. What's the first thing that goes through your mind when you see a teenage boy and girl standing together? There we go. They're in love. Yeah, relationship. They're in a relationship. Boyfriend, girlfriend. Yeah. Something's happening. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Relationship, boyfriend, girl. Yeah. Why are they together? Hey, that's a good one. Yeah. So, yeah, there we go. So what happens here is we attaching a meaning. Now, that's what we call your bias, your subconscious bias, because we attach that meaning that hey, something's happening there, kuch kuch gota hai, right? But we don't know until we go there and I say, Junaid, who's the young lady? And then I go, no, that's my sister. And I go, oh my gosh, I thought that was you know? So very often we attach meanings, and especially when it comes to school, one of the common meanings most students attach to learning is boring, learning is hard, learning is difficult. When you tell them maths, the first meaning, oh, maths is hard, maths is difficult. But it's not. That's the meaning we attach. But nevertheless, why I did this and why I wanted to tell you about this. Now, guys, at any given moment in time, one of your five senses is always the most dominant and most strongest sense. One of your five senses, always most dominant and most strongest, right? So that means everything you do will be based through that sense. How you now start, for example, dressing up, how you speak, all of that. That's because they believe it's hard. We need to change their beliefs about learning. When they know how to do it, becomes very easy. And they go, okay, now that I know how to do it, now they'll tell you, oh, learning is easy. I'd rather get it out of the way. Okay. So coming back to what I was saying is our five senses, one of your five senses is always the most dominant and most strongest. And this can change. It can change in a minute. It can change in a second, depending on your mood and your state, right? On the mood and your state. It can change in a split second. Sometimes because we are human beings, we are creatures of habit. We get conditioned because we use sight, we're using it so much, the system gets used to it and it becomes a habit. So based on this, now that we know one of our five senses is always the most dominant sense. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to use the other senses are there. But like, for example, guys, I don't know if you know this, the human eye takes in approximately 10 million bits of information per second. Okay, that's how powerful the system is, right? The ear, at the same time, the ear is taking in approximately 1 million bits of information per second. You know, so the senses are all operating together, but one is very strong. So yeah, we'll use the other, but not as much as the one that's most strongest. Now, we're going to talk about learning styles, and I'm going to show you how, based on the most dominant sense, you will actually learn, you'll speak, you'll communicate, you'll dress up. Everything, your love language will be based on the most dominant sense of yours, right? So you'll need to actually get a pen and a paper, or you can use your devices, because I'm going to ask you to write down 1 to 10. And then after that, after 1 to 10, I'm going to run through a quick test online here. We're going to test to see which is your most dominant sense. And we're going to see what are the characteristics, you know, the strengths and weaknesses and everything about this most dominant sense. So as you're getting yourselves ready with this pen and paper, don't worry, you're only going to write down numbers. You're not writing long sentences. You're only going to write down 1, 2, or 3 for each one. Okay. So as you're getting yourselves ready, let me for a bit. Okay, guys, can you hear me now? Yeah, No, there's no timer. It's the weather. This is a pro version. We got a paid version. The problem is we've got a paid version, but it's the weather, because I can hear the thunder is roaring outside. Okay, nevertheless, let's go back to our PowerPoint and what we were talking about. So I said, guys, you need to get yourselves ready to do this test. We're going to do a quick test to determine which is your most dominant sense, right? Which one of your five senses is most dominant. So let me tell you a little bit about the senses and how it helps us, how it actually shaped your life from the time you were a little child. So as you know, we start growing up. When you were a little baby, couple of months old, right? We call this the kinesthetic phase of growing up. What this means is they learn by touch. They want to touch everything. A child sees something, phone, shiny, whoa, you want to touch it. They just want to go and touch everything. And most of the time they can't speak at this time. So they actually explore and make sense of the world by this kinesthetic phase, by touching and feeling everything around them. Then you get the second phase. The second phase is what I call the auditory phase of growing up. And this is where the child will now speak from like, about 8, 9 months, maybe sometimes a little more, 1.5 years, 2 years. They start speaking whatever they hear their parents say, mama, dad, and they start speaking. They start using the same kind of words, same kind of language, and they repeat, okay? They repeat and they learn a lot. Now, parents, something that just crossed my mind right now, and I want you to take note of this. The English language has approximately, around about 1 million words. However, the average human actually uses approximately 350 to 450 words on a daily basis. So one of the things you need to do when it comes to auditory, right, at any phase, at any age for your child, one, start being more positive speaking, using more positive words. And number two, we need to increase their vocab. They need to learn new words. I can hear the thunder and lightning again. So we need them to increase their vocab, right? So they'll have a much, wider command of language. And we have a reading coach here. If somebody needs, there's a reading coach. I remember seeing why they log in. You guys can ask her for her details, or she'll pop up her details later. There's a reading coach that's in here. So if your child needs reading, get in touch with her. Okay, but coming back, like I said, we need to increase their vocab. And the only way to do that is by reading. Start by reading your religious books. 5 minutes a day. Just start. Whatever religion you are, whatever religious book, just start reading. It actually shows them that you're also a reader and you're also a learner. Because remember, children do what they see, not what you tell them. So we want them to increase their vocab, start reading. Okay, the third phase of learning, of growing up, is what I call the visual phase of growing up, where when that child now comes 4 or 5 years old, mommy, I like this toy. Mommy, I want that. Everything they see, they want, right? That's the visual stage. Everything they see. Then we've got a fourth stage. Now, this fourth stage, a lot of parents may have never experienced this, like me. For example, when I was a little kid, we never heard or never had technology, right? We didn't have access, or there was no technology at all. So there we go. There's Wida, guys. There's the details. For those of you, you can check it out on the chat box. Pop her, there's her stuff there, right? It's in the chat. Okay, so coming back to like what I was saying, the digital phase is a phase where this generation is born in technology. They learn everything so rapidly. They learn it so fast, right? That we never experienced this. We never had the digital phase in our lives, okay? So what happens here is, I always tell people, what they learn digitally through technology, they don't ever forget it. They don't ever forget this. It's like, for example, guys, if I told you, let's just say, for example, you had an Apple iPhone, right? And you used it for a couple of years, it got lost, and you said, now to replace it, too expensive. So you said, no, okay, you know what? I'm just going to get myself a Samsung. And you use a Samsung for another couple of years. And now somebody, let's just say after 5 years, somebody gifted you an iPhone, or you bought a new iPhone. Did you forget how to use the Apple? No, we haven't. No, we haven't. Same word, for example, a laptop. If you didn't know how to use it, and now suddenly you know how to use a laptop, go into Windows, open things, do things, and then you don't use a computer for the next 5 or 6 years. You think you've forgotten how to use Windows? No. So what we learn digitally, we don't forget. And trust me, guys, when it comes to the technology, digital thing, when you buy a new gadget, you'll struggle to get that thing set. Like if you bought a new fridge or a new, a new TV, big television set, and you don't know how to program it, give the child the remote. In 30 minutes, they'll have it sorted out for you. So they are, they love this technology. They love their gadgets. They love their tech. The problem is we've got a huge divide where most of us are operating from a position of fear of unknown. So we try to pull them away from their gadgets. Okay, so let's go into learning styles. What is a learning style? A learning style is very simple. How does my brain like to learn or take in information? Guys, have you ever been in a class or a lecture or a talk where the teacher, the trainer, the lecturer just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks so much? After 10 minutes, you zone out, you start looking outside, and you go, hey, where's my lunch? What time's the break? Does it mean the teacher is boring? No. Does it mean the subject is boring? No. What it means is the way in which information is being delivered to you is not how your brain wants that information. So we need to know, how does my brain like to learn and take in information? That becomes basically my learning style. It drives your personality as well, you see? So a learning style is very simply put, how my brain likes to learn and take in information. Okay, so guys, I have a little exercise for all of you. If you have a pen and paper near you, write down your first name. write down your first name. And when you're done, just type in yes in the chat box. Write down your first name very quickly. Write down your first name. And when you're done, type in yes in the chat box.
Yes.
There we go. Now do it again, but this time use your other hand. This time use your other hand. Do it again, but this time use your other hand, guys. Those of you, lots of you done. Do it again, but this time use your other hand. What happens when we use your other hand? Whoa, it's hard. It's slower. I stress. Can you see? So what happens is when we use our weaker hand, it takes us longer. We stress out. We're struggling. We stress, but eventually we get it. This is how most people are learning. They're learning the hard way. So we want to learn the easy way. How you wrote your name the first time, learning must be like that. Second nature. It must be easy. It must flow. Okay. So why should we learn? Why should we use learning styles? Very simple. It's now you working with your brain. You're making life easy for the brain, that we're going with the brain, not against the brain, So basically what happens is now learning starts becoming very natural, very easy and fun as well, because we're working with the brain, not against the brain. So guys, there are 3 main learning styles according to traditional psychology. 3 main learning styles. So I'm writing here. Oh, okay. Let me go to the eraser and erase everything, clear all drawings. There we go. Okay, so the 3 main learning styles, right? Basically, according to traditional psychology, it says 65% of the world are visual. They want to see something. They want to see, when they're learning, they want to see a video, a PowerPoint presentation. They want to see colors, pictures. They want to see something, right? That's 65%. Then you got 30% of people who are what I call auditory people. These people love to talk, engage, they speak, you can't keep them quiet. 30% of them. And then you have 5% of what we call the misunderstood lot. These people are what we call the kinesthetic personalities. Now, this was traditional psychology. I believe right now, post 2015, we're finding more and more children in this 5%. Because now I'm going to tell you, after the test, I'm going to tell you all about this characteristic, the characteristics of this personality type and this learning style. So if we recap, visual people like to learn by looking, seeing, right? Auditory people like to learn by listening, hearing, talking. And kinesthetic people learn by experience and emotions and feelings. Everything is about feelings, right? So they are hands-on, can't sit still, those kind of people. Now, we're going to do a quick test. And we want to test which of these 3 is your most dominant, is most strongest. So if anybody is wondering what happened to my other 2 senses, of sense of taste and smell, well, the percentages are so low that in neuroscience we negate it, we leave it out, right? The percentage of people that use the sense of taste and smell to learn is 0.016%. That in neuroscience we actually negate it, we leave it out completely, okay? It will always be one of these 3. Now, does it mean that if I'm dominantly, let's just say, for example, auditory, I'm not using, no, it means I'm using all 3, but that one is more stronger than the other 2. So, yeah, there we go. Somebody says, audio, I learn better by listening and recording. Let's look at it. Let's go. Okay. So all of you, get out your pens and papers, or if you took out your devices, we're going to do the test. Okay. We're going to test to see which of these 3 is your most dominant and most strongest sense. Okay. So as you're getting ready, this is called multisensory learning, right? So this is what we just spoke about. Now, here's the test. Now, guys, I'm going to run through this test very quickly. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want you to think about it and analyze. I want you to give me the first answer that comes to your mind. If you see, for example, I asked you, what is your favorite color? Is it number 1, red? Is it number 2, blue? Or is it number 3, pink? Here you go, pink. Right, you just write down number 3. The first answer that comes to mind, okay? So let's quickly do the test and we'll see where you are and which is your most dominant sense. So question number 1, everybody, question number 1. When you think about spelling a word like the word apple, do you, number 1, do you picture the word, you visualize how to spell it? Or number 2, do you say it out, A-P-P-L-E, apple? Or number 3, do you write it down to see if it looks and feels right? Which one? 1, 2, or 3? Write down your answer. Just write down only that. Write it down, guys. Write it down. Not in the chat box. Write it down. I want you to write it down. Listen to the instructions. Write it down on a piece of paper. Okay? There's too many people for me to keep track of it. So, question number 2. When you're really concentrating on something, Are you number one, easily distracted by number one, too many things on the desk, organized chaos, everything all over, messy, untidy? Or number two, I get distracted by when people are talking loudly, making noise, or there's music playing loudly. I get distracted by that. Or number two, do you get distracted when people are moving up and down, in and out? Which one? One, two, or three? Write it down. Write down the number only. Question number three, when you recall memories, for example, let's just say a holiday that you've been on. Do you remember this holiday with number one, a very clear picture of that holiday? I went to that place. Or number two, do you remember that holiday, that memory, by all the things you heard, sounds you heard, things you may have spoken about that place? Or number three, do you remember that memory, that holiday, like a movie? You say, hey, first we went there, then from the airport we drove to this place, and then we booked in and we did that. It's like a movie in your head. Everything's moving. Which one? One, two, or three? Write it down. Write it down, guys. Question number four, when you're really angry and pissed off, do you, number one, keep quiet, boil up, and burn inside, waiting to explode like a 2-liter Coke bottle? Or number two, do you start shouting loudly and screaming and, using all those heavy languages of X, Y, Z, and B's and all of those letters? Or number three, when you get angry, do you clench your fist, grind your teeth, bang the table, slam the door, kick the cat or the dog? Woof, meow. Which one? One, two, or three? Which one? One, two, or three? Okay. Question number five. If you meet somebody after a very long time, couple of years, you see somebody, right? Are you somebody, number one, who remember what people look like? I remember you. I remember your face. You came to my school or you did that. So you are somebody who likes to, you remember, what you see people's faces, but you don't remember their names. Or number two, are you somebody who don't remember what people look like, but you remember their names because you probably speak about them? Or number three, are you somebody who only remembers you and what you did? Which one? One, two, or three? Write it down. Question number six, if I asked you to describe your room door, would you, number one, picture in your mind's eye what it looks like? You'll visualize it. You'll imagine it. Or number two, would you start talking about it and describing it in very descriptive and colorful words? You'll talk a lot about the door. Or number three, are you somebody who think about how it opens, how it feels? Oh, hey, Junaid, it's cracked there because I punched it. Oops. Which one? One, two, or three? Write down your number only. Question number seven, when you are learning schoolwork, anything academic, do you prefer learning work that is in videos, pictures, colors, PowerPoint presentations? Or number two, do you like to learn work that is, like a teacher speaking, like I'm doing right now, by listening to somebody, people talk and give instructions telling you what to do, like I'm doing right now? Or number three, are you somebody who likes to learn by doing some kind of activity, making something, doing something? Which one? One, two, or three? Write down your answer. Write it down. Question number eight, if you were free to do whatever it is you want right now, money was not an issue, right? Money was not a problem. And getting permission, authority, not a problem, sorted out. Would you, number one, hey, I'm just going to watch some series, or I'm just going to watch some reels or shorts. I'm just going to, play some online games or read a book or read online. Or number two, would you rather go and socialize, talk to some people, make some WhatsApp calls, maybe listen to some music on the sheets? Or number three, you say, hey, guys, I'm just chilling in my PJs. I'm going to sleep. Or you might even say, hey, I want to go shopping. Shopping is the number three activities for all the moms in the room. Or you might say, the child might say, I want to go play a game of soccer, play a game of cricket. Or if they're little kids, they say, I want to go play in the slides. That's a number three. Which one are you? One, two, or three? If you were free to do whatever it is you wanted. Most people. Okay, there we go. So question number 9. Write down your number only, guys. Write down the number only. Question number 9. When you talk to people, are you somebody who talks very little and gets bored listening to people talk too long? Or number 2, are you somebody who likes to listen and talk as well? Guys, please do not turn on any features. Somehow or the other, somebody's trying to turn on some features. Okay, so coming back to what I was saying, question 9, when you talking to people, are you number 1, who talks very little, gets bored listening to people talking too long? Or number 2, are you somebody who likes to listen and talk and ask questions and engage people? Or number 3, are you very much like Coach Junaid, using your hands and gesture and move around all over, can't stand one place, you're always moving around, right? Which one? 1, 2, or 3? Question number 10, last question, guys. You've done extremely well and now you deserve to be recognized and rewarded. Would you, number 1, prefer being given a nice printed certificate with your name in the fancy Here in full go. Full go. I got disconnected again. So, but we back. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. I'm pretty sure you can all hear me, right? Yeah, let's do number 10. Let's go to 10. There we go. So, question number 10 says, if you've done extremely well and you've done right, you need to be rewarded and acknowledged, praised for your efforts. Would you prefer being given number one, a nice printed certificate with your name in the fancy calligraphy? Or number two, would you rather hear it announced, maybe like on the school assembly, on radio, at a family function, at a bride? Or number three, are you happy just being given a nice pat on the back, nice shake of the hand, maybe a nice tight hug? Well done, Junaid. Which one? One, two, or three? Now, what I want you all to do is write down 1 equals 2 equals 3 equals. And I want you to total up the number of ones, twos, and threes. Total up the number of ones, twos, and threes. How many ones, how many twos, and how many threes did you get? How many ones, how many twos, and how many threes did you get? So write down 1 equals, 2 equals, 3 equals, and then just put down the total. How many ones, how many twos, and how many threes did you get? Total the number of ones, twos, and threes. Excellent. Excellent. So guys, how many of you have more, your highest one are more ones? All of you that have more ones in the room, just type in 1 in the chat box. Those of you that got more ones. There we go. All the ones, you guys, this means your sense of vision, right? Your sense of sight is the most dominant sense. You are a visual personality right now. Those of you, how many of you, your highest number, more twos than anything else? How many of you got more twos than anything? Highest number, more twos. If you got more twos, put down 2 in the chat box. 2. There we go. So those of you that got more twos, highest number, more twos, it means right now at this moment in time, your most dominant sense is the sense of speaking, auditory, listening, hearing, talking. Okay. So this means you like to talk and, engage, argue this. Okay. Right. How many of you, your highest number, you got more threes than anything? Wait, somebody says, remove the black block can see. Which black block? Okay. So those of you that got, Zaida says she's got 5 ones and 5 twos. Now, generally when somebody has 5 ones, 5 twos, it tells us you most probably had a significant emotional experience somewhere along in your life. Something major happened. So what happened is, Zaida, you're probably somebody who overanalyze things, you overthink things, right? And that's because of some kind of experience somewhere in your life. At some stage, somewhere in your life, something triggered that, right? It could be something, I don't know, you may have witnessed something or you may have experienced it. It could be, something. We call that a significant emotional experience. So those of you that got more threes than anything else, highest number of threes, type in threes in the chat. Type in threes. These, number threes, where's all the threes? Oh, there we go. There we go. So this means that you guys with the threes, you are kinesthetic personality. So if we were learning about the human heart, right now, I was teaching you all about the human heart. All the number ones in the room, they would go, wow, I like his presentation. I like the animations. They're looking good, because their sense of vision, right? Their sense, the eye is the most dominant sense. They want to see things. If you had more twos than anything else, you would actually learn about the human heart by engaging in a discussion, arguing, maybe a debate. Okay. Number ones will want to see. Which block are you guys talking about? Is it that block? How about now? I don't see any other blocks. How about now, guys? Now can you see? Without a block? There's no block. Yeah, I don't see any. My chat box is right on the side, so it's out of your window. Oh, there we go. There we go. Sorted. All right, excellent. Okay, they say the block is coming from when you comment, when messages pop up. Okay, guys, you just move it from your screen, move it one side. So those of you that had more ones, if you were learning about the human heart, they would love the animation, simulation. They'll want to watch videos about the human heart. Number twos, they'll want to engage, talk, argue, discuss, right? And number threes, These people, they actually hate work. Number three is hate work. They have what we call a lazy brain. These people will learn best about the human heart by actually giving them, the heart, playing with the thing in the hand and cutting it and dissecting it and saying, hey, guys, come check this out. They are hands-on. Okay, so let's look at some of the characteristics of each one. Now, those of you that have the same number, for example, 5 1s, 5 2s, or maybe 5 2s, 5 3s, there's too many of us right now. But generally, what I do in a workshop is 2 or 3 people. I will actually do a test by asking them some, but that's going to take us some time. If you want to run a test on your own, I can send you a little questionnaire to do a little bit more in-depth with 20 questions, which will probably then give you which one is most dominant. But yeah, those of you that have the same number, we don't have the time because I have a lot of content to cover. Okay, so generally it's going to be one of the two. From there, if you got 5 1s, 5 2s, it's going to be one of that too, but it's mostly equal. So generally, yes, number threes are generally very lazy. Yeah, you guys gonna have to send me an email for that one, right? I got disconnected again. I'm going back to my presentation. There we go. So yeah, coming back to what I was saying. Yeah, generally number threes, they're not lazy. They have a lazy brain. I'll give you an example of that now, right? I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's talk about the characteristics. What's happening? It's the storm. It's disconnecting and reconnecting me. It kicked me out and back in. So let's look at some of the characteristics. I won't be covering all, but look at number 3. See there, it says lazy brain. So what this actually means is basically their brain looks for what we call the path of least resistance. For example, if a child in the class, the teacher is teaching them, if the child, the teacher is teaching them long division, and the teacher puts up something on the board and says, Aisha, I won't be able to follow the chat right now. I wanted to be a doctor. Okay. Aisha, Aisha Raja, you'll have to send me an SMS or an email, right? I'll give you my contact details a little later. All of you that want it, yeah, Munira as well. If it's a 1 and 2, we need to quickly do a little bit more in depth to see which of the two is most dominant. Okay, so you guys can send me a message or an email, and I'll send it to you, but not on this chat. You're gonna have to send it to me on my email. There's too many people, guys. There's about 100 people here. Okay, so coming back to what I was saying, they have a lazy brain. So that child, if the teacher tells the child, come to the board and do this long division. So this child now, from the time they wake up to the time they get to the board, they're already calculating in their head. They calculate and they go and write down the answer on the board. And the teacher will say, no, you missed all the steps. You missed the process. So these guys lose mark for process or steps because their brain, Munira, Sumar, yeah. Okay. So I can, yeah. Okay, I got it.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys. Somebody was talking to me. Somebody sent a message. Okay, so coming back to what I was saying is they have a very lazy brain. The brain takes the path of least resistance. So these number threes are people who are ants in your pants, can't sit still, always move around, lazy. But they hate writing. That's why they generally have very poor handwriting. I mean, have you ever seen a doctor write? The doctors have, you need a PhD to decipher what the doctor is writing. But if you had more twos, right? And you'll find number twos, characteristics of people that are number 2, very dominant number 2s. They like to argue. They want to have the last say in everything. They speak out, they speak to themselves. They'll actually say things. They vocalize when they read. So they say things out loudly and repeat. They will repeat. If I asked a child, what is 7 times 7? They'll repeat. Oh, 7 times 7. I know what 7 times 7 is. They repeat a lot. Number 1s are people that are very visual. Okay. Number 1s are people that are, very prim, proper, neat, tidy. They take their time to get ready. They must look nice, right? And in fact, number 1s are people who actually, even if I gave yeah, that is getting a bit frustrating, but yeah, I guess, guys. So let's go back to it. So like I was saying, the number 1s, they get, frustrated even if I gave them all the notes, I gave you all the slides and all the notes. Number ones will make notes on top of the note. They love to write. They just love making lots and lots of notes. Okay, that's just number one. By nature, they are like that. Okay, and also number ones are people when they want to concentrate and pay attention. They want it must be quiet. And number three, on the other hand, when they want to concentrate, a number three will make noise. They will tap their finger, click their pen, tap their foot on the desk. Tap their foot on the floor, tap the desk. They make noise. They just need sounds in the background for them to feel normal, right? Whereas number ones are totally opposite. So can you imagine in an exam or in the classroom, if a number three is sitting next to a number one, and the number three now, if they're writing a test, the number three wants to concentrate. So the number three will start clicking their pen or tapping the desk because they're concentrating. And the number one will pick up their hand and say, excuse me, ma'am, Mr. Examiner, he's really distracting me. He's annoying me by tapping on the desk. And the number three goes, I'm just trying to learn, So they're a very misunderstood lot. When they want to get somebody's attention, number threes will nudge you. They'll touch people. They're very touchy-feely people, right? They operate by touch and feel. So they will nudge you and touch you. And then a number one, if you touch them and nudge them, they go, hey, he's hitting me, he's bullying me, ma'am. So they don't like people touching and hitting them. They have this very strong sense of don't come in my space. That's don't come in. They have these boundaries. Now they don't like people to come into their space, number ones. In fact, number ones, never ever, if you have a child who's a number one, never ever give a visual person verbal instructions. Never tell them, go down the road, or even directions. Never tell them, you're going to the mall, go down the road, at the robot turn right, carry on straight, at the next robot turn left, and then go up the road. The moment they go down the road, what you said you must do now, I'm here at the road. That's because their brain wants information through the eyes you just gave it, through the ears. So number ones, they want to see things, okay? Number twos, like I said, very talkative, learn by repetition, say things out loudly. Also, number ones are generally very detail orientated. They're very good in spelling, neat handwriting, and they have to have a clear line of sight. A number one must see the speaker or the teacher, whoever's speaking. They must be able to see from head to hips. Okay. If they can't see the person who's speaking, the information will get distorted. They always in their brain, they're thinking, man, can't I just see? Where is he? Or even if they went, for example, to a wedding or a movie or a sporting event, and there's people sitting, and if there's somebody in front of them who's, tall, got a long neck, the whole time these people are going, can't this guy just move one side, man? I can't see. That's why they have to have a clear line of sight. In the class, your child must be able to see clearly straight at the board, and they must be able to see the teacher from hip to head. They must be able to see. These people, you'll find them daydreaming a lot. They have big dreams.
Hello, this new sound. Hello.
Okay, guys, we're back. I'm pretty sure you can hear me now. Shut for that. Thanks. Okay, so like I was saying, guys, these number ones, they need visual, right? Visual instructions. Give them, if you want to give them directions, draw out a map, put out a checklist. Kids love checklists, right? So if you use a checklist or a task list, write it down. Visual people have to see things. They don't do well by verbal instructions. Okay. Yeah, mind maps, big time. Like I love mind maps. I do a lot of mind mapping. We even have a mind mapping course. Now, the opposite is these number threes. These people hate to write. They don't want to write. But if you give them a tool, a technology, a gadget, oh, they love it. They do very well with gadgets and technology. And they spell words by feeling. So today they might spell a word in a certain way, next week in another way, different feelings, right? Different, no matter what the emotions are, they spell words according to emotions and feelings. And you'll find these number threes, this is very weird of their characteristics, right? But a number three will have a headset on, listening to music, sitting in front of the television with their books and they're learning. Now, guys, a visual person, especially if your mom is a number one, the mom will look at the child and say, darling, how can you concentrate and learn at the same time? You know, but it's very strange that this personality type, that's normal for them. You know, in 2019, there was a girl who came out in the top 100 in metric in the country. And she was one of my students. And her mom, when interviewed, her mom said, you know, I thought this child was going to fail because this child would be walking around the house with the books in her hand, her headset on, listening to music, and she'll be jumping up and down, right? She'll be jumping up and down on the trampoline with the books in her hand, you know? So these people, they like movement. Their best position when studying is generally studying lying down, and they fiddle a lot. They fiddle with their hair, their clothes. If they're wearing a hat, they'll move around. You know, their hands are always. So best thing to do for number threes is let them stand and learn, and they must hold the book. They must hold the book, because if they're not holding the book in their hand, it must not be on the desk. If they're not holding the book, guys, they start interfering with everything. They'll touch everything. So you want them to rather hold the book and use their finger as a pointer. Okay, they actually get very restless. They love role playing. So number twos are people that love basically talking. They have super hearing. Number twos want to always have the last say in everything. You can't keep them quiet. You know, and an argument will have finished. Argument is over, finished, done. And they'll come tomorrow. But you know how I feel about this, eh? You know what my opinion. They want to always have the last say. So some of the study tips for everybody, right? Everybody, you should be using all of these tips that I'm going to give you. One, take lots of pictures of the notes instead of writing it down, because our brain actually functions by pictures, not by words. Number two, watch videos. Videos increase understanding by 71%. So if a child is struggling with something or needs to learn something, or even whatever they learned in school and they didn't get it, they didn't understand it in class, come home and watch a free video. You can get free videos on YouTube. Just do a search, for example, grade 6, natural science, term 1, topic is whatever the topic, and you'll find it on YouTube. You'll find tons of videos. Or you can even go to Khan Academy, right? You got Khan Academy for kids as well. These are apps with basically free video tuition, okay? And number twos will actually, I always say, study with a buddy, right? Study buddies, so that you can talk, right? And you can ask questions and they can ask you questions, or you as a parent be the study buddy, right? Engage them by asking questions and they must give answers. Number threes, get them to have shorter sessions. Shorter sessions, meaning studying for 15, 20 minutes and then having a 5 to 10 minute break. Let them walk and learn. Let them walk in the back of the class, right? Let them hold the book in their hand as well. So these are basically all, you know, guys, how many of you here use highlighters? Anybody here use highlighters? Got your kids using highlighters? Type yes in the chat box if you use highlighters. Yeah, there we go. So guys, the biggest mistake when it comes to highlighting, and when I tell you this, you're going to go, what? Never ever hold the highlighter in your hand. Why? Everybody goes, huh? Because when you are learning, and if you hold the highlighter in the hand, the objective of the brain has now shifted from learning to looking for something to highlight and color. You'll highlight the page number, highlight the spine, highlight long, you'll highlight everything. So never ever hold the highlighter in your hand. Highlighter must be on the desk. When you saw something to highlight, you only highlight key points and keywords, nothing else. Only key points and keywords, which is generally only 10% of an entire sentence, okay? So what we got to do is highlight the keyword and then put the highlighter back on the desk. Never keep it chronic highlighter. Yeah, put it down. And generally, you'll find the chronic highlighters will highlight full long sentences. Everything gets highlighted, right? That's not correct. you only highlight key points, keywords, and key ideas. Okay, we talk about that in one of the lessons that we do. Okay, now, guys, I'm going to move on to this. So I'm skipping that as well. Now, language patterns are the same. Remember, whichever sense is most strongest and most dominant, that's the kind of language you'll use. For example, visual people, now remember your language is subconscious. What does subconscious mean? Subconscious means it's happening on autopilot. Right now, as you guys are listening to me, you're learning all of these things, you're watching the screen, your eyes are blinking. You're not telling your eyes blink, blink, blink. You're breathing in and out. You're not telling yourself breathe in, breathe out. No, it's happening on autopilot subconsciously. So language also is subconscious. When you speak, you're not thinking about what word to put in the sentence. The sentence just flies out. So visual people will use a lot of visual words. They'll use words like look, see, show, hear, clear, right? And then auditory people use a lot of auditory words like sound, listen, talk, discuss. And then kinesthetic people use a lot of feeling words, touch, hold, hard, easy. Okay, they use those kind of words. Now, they also use the same kind of phrases. So if I'm speaking to a visual person, I'll speak to a visual person like this. I'll tell a visual person, if I could show you a smarter way in which you could learn and benefit, you would at least want to look at it, wouldn't you? And if this looks good to you, we will go ahead and focus on getting the homework in. Now watch this, guys. Saying the exact same thing that you told to a visual person, you can say the same thing to an auditory person, but in different words, that the brain goes, this person understands me, this person gets me, right? So if I'm speaking to an auditory person, and number two, I'll go like this. If I could tell you a faster way in which you could benefit in learning, you would at least want to hear about it, wouldn't you? And if this sounds good to you, we will go ahead and discuss how to set the homework. Saying the exact same thing to a kinesthetic personality would go like this. If I could help you get hold of an easier way in which you could learn and benefit, you would at least want to get a feel for it, wouldn't you? And if this feels good to you, we will go ahead and handle the homework. So can you see, this is how language also impacts your most dominant sense. But remember, like I said, it can change according to the mood. If we do this test tomorrow, you probably will have slightly different answers. But the more older you are, the more, you get conditioned by the habit. So here's a quick test for all of you. Quick test. This number ones. What type of a person, just by looking at the words, what type of a personality is it? Is it number 1, 2, or 3? Type it in the chat box. Quick test. This yellow that is shaking. What type of a personality? Is it a number based on the words that you can see? Is it a number 1, number 2, or a number 3? There we go. Elmi, very good. Elmi Human, Zara, very good. These are number 3s. Excellent. Very good. Well done, guys. Congratulations. What is this one? The ones in blue and the writing in red. Excellent. These are the number 1s. So you'll find naturally, if you start paying attention to the kind of words that my children, people are using, all kind of relationships, right? If you listen to the words, it'll kind of tell you what modality they are in. The sense is what we call a modality. And last one, guys, this is by, a process of elimination. It has to be number 2. We all know that. But number 2s, those number 2s in the rooms, number 2s have a habit. They'll tell you this. They'll use this phrase, to be honest with you, to tell you the truth. And I go, does that mean you've been lying all along? So be careful of that phrase, because subconsciously, or, you're telling this person, I haven't been being honest to you. So be careful of that phrase, to be honest, or to tell you the truth. Okay. So guys, very quickly, some of the events that I'm running over the next, for the next, especially February and March. We got the grade 4 and 5 focus course. Remember, grade 4s are now in a new phase. They'll be doing new things, exams, right? First time they'll be writing exams. They'll be having more, more deeper, what can I say? They need to understand the content more deeper. So this is a course that I'll be running in February and March. Okay. It starts, I'll give you a special, guys. For those of you that attend the webinar, you can enroll on this for $397. It's a 5-week course. You'll have, it's a masterclass. So it'll be like this. It'll be a webinar, right? It'll be on the days are here and the times. Yeah. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. This is for grade 4 and 5 only. It's called the focus course. Okay. And then you get the bonus of the memory course. Now you can get all of this today for $397. right? Normal price is $497, and you got lifetime access to all the replays. So all the lessons, you'll get a replay, and there's a bonus lesson as well. It's now 6 lessons, so 6 sessions. So there's a bonus lesson there as well. And you get the memory for free. The second course that I'm running in February and March is called the grade 6 and 7 factors. It's an 8-week course, and this has basically all of this, and we're going to run it basically 4 sessions in term 1 and 4 sessions in term 2. It's going to probably be 5 sessions. I'm going to add an extra 1 bonus there, right? And normally it's 800 Rand, which is 400 Rand per term. You can get it today for 300 bucks per term. So it means you'll pay 600 Rands for this, and you'll get the memory course for free as well. This will also be on a Thursday night, but it's on at 7:30. Okay. Now you can get these courses to do it on your own as well via the academy, the online e-learning portal. Then for grade 8s and 9, we got a 12-week, which is called the foundation course. It's got 12. Guys, what I'll do is I'll send you all with the replay link. I'll send you the brochure for all 3 courses. You can look at it. There's a lot of bonuses. Like term notes, learning audios, study guides that they're going to be used for the rest of high school and primary school. Lots of bonuses. They're going to get summaries, the notes, revision plans, subject trackers, schedule, lots of stuff, right? So we can run this. This is running on these dates via the masterclass, but there's limited place, guys. There's limited space. So make sure you book so you don't get left out. There's only 100 per group that we can take, only 100, because that's the license that I have on my Zoom for how many I can run. So this course will be run over 2 terms, term 1 and term 2. Term 1 will have 6 sessions, and term 2 will have the second 6 sessions. This is for grade 8 and 9. Okay. So yeah, you'll also get the free. Now, like I said, you can also get all 3 courses to do on your own via the academy. That's the online e-learning. You do it at your own pace. Okay, guys, the storm is playing havoc on us, but we're back. So like I was saying, guys, these are the courses. There we go. Yes, guys, these are not for any specific curriculum. We use frameworks, right, that works in any curriculum throughout the world. So these are for students throughout the world. It's based on frameworks, right? So it can be used in any curriculum anywhere in the world. Like, for example, problem solving thing. These are skills. So you have skill sets, and you either have skills that you need to develop, or if you have them already, we need to enhance them. So these are basically skills development and skills enhancement. Now, this is to create a strong foundation for your child in high school. Okay, I'll send this out to you guys with the link to the recording. And also, if you want, there's also a masterclass for only grades 7, 8, and 9. And this is called the Personality Type and Learning Style Masterclass. It's in about 2 weeks' time. It's over 3 days, 1 hour on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's about 90 minutes, right? Each day I'll be going through personality types, learning styles, the study skills for each of these grades, which is 7, 8, and 9, and then 15 emotional intelligence skills for grades 7, 8, and 9, which is 13, 14, and 15-year-olds, okay? And we'll also tackle some social skills as well as the 9 intelligences. So this will be on the 11th, 12th, and the 13th of February. They're 1 hour each day. It'll be recorded as well, lifetime access to the recording, and it's about 300 bucks, guys. Just check it out. And yeah, these are some of the benefits. You can read through them. I'm not going to go through it. When you get the PDF, you can just go through it and look at it. But the key thing I can tell you here is I'm not looking for grades. What I'm looking for is behavioral change. When your child now says, right, I will take control of my own education, my mother. Yeah, guys, Lissetti asked, do you have a university? The university students, we run them with the matric students. It's called the masterclass, right? They can attend a different masterclass, the accelerator program. What you do, Lissetti, is you message me for that, and we'll talk about the university students or the grade 10, 11, and 12 students as well, right? If you want for those. But this is specifically for the courses that's going to be in this month, which I'm running more than the other courses, right? The university students, there's a 24 module course online, right? It's 1,200 rands, and that they can do at their own pace, at their own, because some of them like to be, they'll watch all at once, right? And like I said, there's a lot of bonuses to these courses. They're going to get learning audios. They're going to get the notes. Our brand is called the Yeah, this connected again. So, guys, I'm just rounding up. I'm going to be finishing now. Right, I'm going to start going out. Okay, so those of you that want to do the parenting course, it's based on these 6 pillars. Okay, and those of you that want private assessments of your kids, that's the special price for tonight is 500 rands. Normally it's 850. You get a report with an action plan that can be used for the next 3 years in whatever grade they are, and it's also done for corporate professionals as well. If you are passionate about people and you want to become a teen coach or a life coach for kids, you can talk to me. We have a class that's starting in February as well. Or if you'd like to join my team and become a study coach, you can join us as well. Now, coming back to the last part as we're closing up, what are the love languages of each one? So visual people, all the number ones in their room, their love language is basically they love attention. They love attention and they want attention all the time, right? They want attention all the time. No sound still. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Guys, can you? Okay, good. So, like I said, these guys, they want attention. They speak very little. They have very strict rules and boundaries. They like to go to places with good scenery. They want to catch sunrises, sunsets. They have very high emotional intelligence. So they can walk into a room and say, hey, things are kind of like hectic. It looks like there's been an argument here. Number two is their love language is appreciation. If you're a number two, you only want two things. You want respect and appreciation. You want to be appreciated for all that you do. But they also like to be engaged in deep, meaningful conversations, okay? Especially in relationship, they want to be able to have deep, meaningful conversations. They will speak a lot, very expressive, can't shut them up. They like to go to places where they can socialize and meet other people and talk. They have very high social intelligence. And then you have the kinesthetic personality. Their love language is touch. They connect via touch. They love hugs and touches. But in their teen years, they'll tell you, no, don't touch me. I don't want, but that's their love language. They like to show, acts of service by wanting to do things for you. Can I get you a cup of tea? Can I carry your books? Can I do this for you? Can I rub the ball? That's acts of service. They tend to be very soft-hearted, very shy. They can cry very easily. They are unable to put into words what they think and feel. And generally, they like to go to places like the beach, the park, and they have very, very high IQ. Generally, schools and educational systems was not designed for these people, the kinesthetic personalities. They do well. They thrive on their own. Now, coming back to the last part, guys, the skills. If we look at from the last 10 years, what are the top 10 skills a child requires to succeed? This is research done by UNESCO, World Economic Forum, okay? They had something in Davos just last week. So, but over the years, they've been running these polls. Now, look at 2015, look at 2020. Number 6, emotional intelligence. They want people that can work with people, see people management, right? Now let's go to 2024 and 2025. These are the skills that are dropping, right? Having good memory, good, basic skills. They're not looking for, they want people that can go beyond, answering level 4 question, doing difficult things. They want people that are good with technology, right? These were before from 2020, these were big, but now they're currently on a decline. Let's look at what are the growing skills of 2025, right? Artificial intelligence is growing rapidly. Digital learning growing very rapidly. Problem solving, thinking skills, they're looking for these kind of people and they want people to have these kind of skills, right? Leadership, social influences, integrity, trustworthiness. But look at the ones that are in red. Those are the ones you need to pay attention to. Now, what are trending? Artificial intelligence and coding, right? Robotics, these are gone big. They're gone huge. Right now, with artificial intelligence, everybody should be using it. The key to artificial intelligence, most people don't know how to use the chat GPTs and the Gemini. And the new one that came out last week was DeepSeek, right? The Chinese version, 10 times faster, well, actually 100 times faster at a fraction of a cost and things like that. But it's all about prompt engineering. Learn how to prompt. But these are the trending skills, guys, right? So for you now, what you need to do as a parent, you need to have some foundational skills for your children. No matter what age, what grade they are, what are the foundational skills your child needs? They need to know how to read, write, right? Then they need to know science. Then they need to be tech savvy. They need to know about technology and be tech literate, right? They need to know money skills, teach them budgeting, how to budget, how to, save, how to bank. They need to know these things. And number 6, cultural diversity, respecting other cultures, right? This is basically life skills. But then we have what we call the competencies, capabilities and competencies. These are the middle ones. Your child needs to have good critical thinking, problem solving skills, creativity, communication, and teamwork, right? They need to know how to work in a team. Then in terms of character building, you need to have, for example, you need to have curious mind, childlike curiosity. They need to know how to take the initiative and be in charge and in control of their own lives. They're not mother and father and teacher must tell them what to do. No, they need to take initiative on their own. They need to have perseverance, determination, flexibility, how to lead, right? Taking leadership, especially in small groups. And again, cultural awareness. So these are the key skills your child needs. This is how you can go about teaching them this, instilling this into them, right? You can look through this when I send you the PDF. Okay, guys, some free resources for you. These are basically, you can get the entire Fast and the Curious on a playbook where you read it every day. You can, teach your child. It'll tell you everything about this 10 basic skills it'll teach in each one. And, basically you have to learn about it. It gives you enough to know what it is and how to go about it. And you got to instill it or teach it to your children, or you can let us do that for you, right? But it's very high value. I had parents tell me they would have paid for it, but it's free. You can have, each one is different. And yeah, so the grade 4 and 5, that's the link. Let me post it in the chat for you guys. Then you can just download it by clicking it in the chat. Just download these, they're free. But it teaches you, it'll give you the it'll give you the link to sign up for those playbooks. Very high value. It's actually what I teach on the course, but now you have to teach it to your kids. Teach it on your own. So, ladies and gentlemen, parents, did you enjoy the session? Was it valuable? Was it valuable to you? Please type in the chat box. Was it valuable to you? Did it make a difference? Did we add value? Excellent. Fantastic. Fantastic. Brilliant. What is one word you would describe this session with me with? What is one word you would describe this session? Excellent. Paulette. I love it. Think I understand my son a bit better now. Excellent. Oh, wow. Brilliant. Excellent. Fantastic. Excellent. Interesting. Well done. Oh, excellent, guys. So, very informative. Excellent. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. So, if you have any questions, or you want to ask something, I will hang on. But this is the end of the session. Lesedi, I and my mom enjoyed it. Thank you very much, guys. Much Afrikaans, I have somebody who will do Afrikaans for you. I don't do the Afrikaans. I have somebody on my team who does the Afrikaans. Nessa, thanks, Nessa. Informative. Yeah, excellent. So, guys, if you have any questions, I'll be here to take your questions, right? These are some of the things that you can get. I'll even send you these links on the email where you'll all get an email with the link to the recording and the PDF. And I'll send you yes, we have lots of stuff for the ECD from grade R. In fact, the most amount of content we have is for grade R 1, 2, and 3. So there's bundles as well available, Kaya. If you just send me a request and I'll send you what you need. So guys, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity of serving all of you, adding value, to your lives and making a difference in your kids' lives. I hope that you guys now go and apply what you've learned, put it into practice. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next event that I have, which is going to be for parents as well, where I'll be talking about emotional intelligence a little bit more in depth. And we'll be talking about the Personal Power for Kids program. So that will probably be towards the end. So yeah, guys, that's the end of today's session. And these are my contact details. You'll probably, yeah, there we go. These are my contact details. If you want to put your child in the groups, in the master classes, or you would like them to do it on their own, you'll see it in the brochures. you can just get in touch with me for today's special. And there's a question. Jazakallah Kulsum. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really had fun. I really enjoyed it. And guys, those of you that are teachers, if you'd like to run this exact same workshop at your school, there's a different one for teachers, there's one for parents, and there's one for students as well. So if you'd like to run this at your schools or in your areas, do get in touch with me, and I would love to run it at no charge and make a huge difference in your areas. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop in your question in the chat box, and I'll hang around for the next minute or two, and then I'll stop. Aisha, excellent. Much appreciated. Yes, I will. I will send it in those three packages that we're offering, the Fast and the Curious series, the Fast and the Curious Focus, the Factors, and the Foundation. Yes, 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 absolutely. Well, look, Kulsum, if you're a teacher, these are courses that are actually for students. If you want to become a study coach, they do the coaching courses. You'll be able to teach it internationally because it's internationally accredited and certified. If you saw to social media handles, yeah, just do a search on my full name, Junaid Bayat, and you'll get that. Yeah. So, Kulsum, yeah, the study coach is what you would want to use, especially if you're teaching overseas. It's internationally accredited, or you do the life coaching for kids as well. That's a big one overseas. I've coached now over 1,000 certified and accredited over 1,000 coaches, life coaches for kids and teen coaches. But 2025, we got authority. My brand is called Authority Coaching. It's 3.0. We've got a lot of new stuff. So it's been an upgrade from last year to this year. It's been, yeah, excellent. Yeah, get in touch with me, Kulsum. Send me your details or send me a message. Paulette, you too. If you're a teacher, if you guys are teachers, there's a shortage. There's a huge demand for life coach for kids and teen coaches. Teens are going through some really tough challenges and not knowing how to deal with it or manage it, and this will help them. And by the way, guys, also I must say, if you're a parent, more than 60% of people that attend my coach training actually attend it for themselves. They don't attend it to be coaches. They actually like to learn all about human behavior and how to basically manage their kids, deal with their children, and a whole lot more. So we say more than 60% of them actually do it for self-development, and it's a huge transformation. I tell people it's like you come in version 1.0, we upgrade you 10.5, and you're like a different person when you come out of it. Yeah, so that's a weekly program. The masterclass runs every Sunday, right? That's send me details if you guys, those of you that want to do the coach training or the study coaching, and I'll send you the dates. You can even do it online at your own pace. There's 4 ways to do a coach training. One in a boot camp, in a masterclass. I run the masterclass 3 times in the year. That means 3 12-week lessons. And the boot camps are basically the 4-day and 5-day workshop, Johannesburg, Sandton, Durban. And then you also have private one-on-ones, those that want to do it one-on-ones. Some people want to do the training individually, like one-on-one. Okay, guys, I don't see any questions. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I want to thank you all for giving me again this opportunity of serving you, adding value in your lives. And I really look forward, to seeing you guys again on the next webinar on emotional intelligence. So yeah, everybody, thank you very much. God bless you all. Allah bless you all. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks, Nessa. Nessa, we need to chat. I'll chat with you tomorrow morning about the book and the maths program and the reading. Thank you, Paulette. Thank you, Manoko. Thank you, Tato. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Aisha. Thank you. Jazakul, thank you too. A lot of you are sending private message. Okay, cool. All right, guys. I'm going to end the session so that we can start the recording. I see you guys next time. Thanks, Kogi.